Good afternoon, Delilah. How are you doing?
Good afternoon.
Thank you. How are you doing today?
Hey Hannah, hi Dalila. How are you doing? I'm Mauricio Solano from El Centro Hispano.
Hi,
Hello.
Mauricio. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing well, thank you for asking.
Of course. Hi, Barbara. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. I'm at work, so I'm just kind of listening in.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Tony. How are you? Hi, Kristen. Thank you for everyone who's already joined us. I'm going to give a few more minutes just to see if we have anyone else that's registered that'll be joining us this afternoon as well. Thank you. Good afternoon, Jessica.
Hello there.
I'll give just a couple more minutes in case we have anyone else who would like to join, and then we can go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, Latasha.
Good afternoon.
Alrighty, thank y'all for your patience. I am going to go ahead and get started. If we have anyone else who joins us and they have any questions, of course, I can always go back and address any of those, but I don't want to waste your time, so I will go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with a quick presentation. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Why does it look like that? Okay. Can y'all see it just fine? Okay, awesome. Okay, so thank you so
Your, we see your back end. So like what we see is like 2 pages, like your
right. I don't
presenter.
know. Yeah, I'm not sure why
So
it's
there
doing.
should be something that says display settings or switch at the top. Just
Oh,
FYI.
okay. Oh, look at there.
Yeah. There you
Okay.
go. Perfect.
Okay. Thank you so much. That was hidden behind my Zoom bar at the top. Thank you so much. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us for the Town of Carrboro, North Carolina 2024 Disparity Study Public Input Session. My name's Hannah Rowell. I'm a Deputy Project Manager with Griffin and Strong PC. So I'm just so happy that everyone joined today. And like I said, I'll just go through a brief presentation before getting into the public input session for today. So Griffin and Strong PC, just a little bit about us. We are a firm specializing in procurement, research, training, and supplier diversity consulting, as well as contract compliance and program development. We are the most qualified team in the industry with 6 Juris Doctors, 2 PhDs in economics, a PhD in social psychology, as well as anthropology. No study by GSPC has ever been challenged in court, which is just really important because disparity studies are a creation of the court. So that's just really significant to us. Just a brief overview of the objective of the study itself. Let me move this. So a disparity study is an objective research tool that is used to determine if there are any disparities in a governmental agency's procurement activities. We are looking at race, ethnic, and gender groups, specifically in various industry categories determined by the town. So these would be construction, A&E, professional services, other services, and goods. The disparity study then determines further whether there are disparities that are statistically significant and if they are likely caused by the race and gender status of those firm owners. We also utilize anecdotal evidence collection, so qualitative data, alongside our disparity study quantitative data collection, which is an element of that is this public input session you're attending today. And we also examine policy procedures and practices as well as case law. Using the findings of this disparity study, GSPC's resulting final report will also have any recommendations based off of these findings, which we'll submit to the town. And of course, if they're accepted, they will be, they have intent to be implemented as policy. So this is a chart of the study process. A couple of these I've already mentioned. So first, we typically start out with the legal analysis. That's just going to be analyzing any case law that's applicable to the disparity study. So we have the larger cases that, like I said, created what a disparity study is and how it's conducted, as well as any case law that's relevant in the specific circuit courts. Then we move on to purchasing policies and procedures. This is where we will do any policy interviews with the town and just try and get an overview using policy documents as well as those interviews of what the town procurement processes look like. Then we will move on to our quantitative data collection. That's where we will collect and clean any quantitative data that we have received from the town. From that, we will conduct a relevant market analysis. This is where we'll kind of determine the relevant economic market of the town, which is where the town spends at least 75% of its money. Then we move on to utilization analysis and availability analysis within that relevant market. And then by comparing the utilization and the availability analysis, we're able to create a disparity indices and conduct a disparity analysis if there are any, through comparing those two analyses. From that, we will move on into a regression analysis, also known as our private sector analysis. This is where, after we've determined the disparity analysis and if there are statistical significant disparities, this is where we will look and see if there are any non-gender or non-racial elements that are affecting those processes as well, or those numbers. We also have the anecdotal component. As I mentioned, I'll go into that just a little bit further as well in the next slide. Anecdotal evidence collection analysis are things such as public input sessions. We had an informational meeting. We'll be hosting focus groups in the upcoming month. And then we do anecdotal interviews, which are in process right now. We have a survey. So we kind of just combine a lot of different elements of where we're trying to conduct outreach to the community and to firms that have done business or have attempted to do business with the town. As I mentioned in the objective of the disparity study, we then move on to a final report that takes all of the findings of the disparity study and comes up with recommendations that we have for the town with the intention to be implemented as policy. So this is a little bit more information, as I mentioned, about the anecdotal evidence and how you as a firm owner, business owner, community member can get involved. So first, of course, just be vocal. Please communicate with us, communicate with me. Any questions you have, obviously participating in the meeting today is incredible. I'll also say to complete the survey of business owners. That's up currently. I'm going to drop the link in the chat at the end of this meeting so you can have access to that. Or if you've already completed it, you can share it with other people who may not have seen it yet or who may have not yet completed it as well. That is set to come down, I believe, the very end of this month, about March 29th, I believe. So there's definitely still time to participate in that. It's a great way for us to be able to quantify the testimonies that people have as business owners. So that's just a really important part of our study. Of course, participate in an anecdotal interview or a focus group session if you are contacted. These are ones where we have obviously a random selection. So if we contact you about an interview or a focus group, please participate. A public input session, of course, as you're doing today. And then keeping up with study updates by visiting the study website. I have the link for the website as well as the study designated email here. I'll also drop those in the chat at the end of this meeting. The study website will have posts about what the disparity study is, any facts and questions and answers about the study, as well as any uploads for, say, the past information session, the video for that, as well as places where you can contact us. And then comments to the study's designated email. Those are really important. I monitor the email myself. If you have any questions about the study, please feel free to ask. But also, if you are uncomfortable sharing your testimony or providing any comments in a public setting, you can always provide email comments or a letter and send it to the email, and it's monitored in that same way, and we can take into account those comments as well. Alrighty, so this is kind of just a general connect with us page, the Griffin and Strong. We do have a Facebook, we can be found at Twitter, and this is our website. This is also just, again, the study email and the study website, which, as I mentioned, I will drop in the chat. Okay, now for the fun part. Moving into the actual public input session now. So I'm going to go through just a couple things before I start, and then it would be great if y'all could take the floor and share your testimonies. So first, the purpose of this session is to hear your candid testimony about your experiences, both positive and areas of concern that you've had either doing business with the town of Carrboro or any attempts to do business with the town of Carrboro. Just a disclaimer, everything said during this hearing will be available for the public record, but the GSPC final report that will be provided to the client, the town of Carrboro, will not publish the names, the business names, or any other affiliations of the individuals who give testimony. It will be made completely anonymous. So just a little bit about how the public input session will run today. I will not be soliciting any questions to you. I will just have commentary, and I won't be responding to any questions or commentary as well, unless I need to gain kind of additional clarity on a comment that you made, just so that I make sure that I understand you correctly. But as far as asking me questions about the study itself, or about the town's procurement process or things like that, that's not what this meeting is for. But like I said, you can always send those questions to me via the study email. So when you do go to provide your comments and your testimony, please begin by stating your name and your business name clearly for the record before you begin your testimony. If you see me kind of looking this way, I do have a pen and paper here, so I'm just going to be taking notes as you speak, so that's what I'll be doing. But yes, if anyone wants to start us off by stating their name and their business, and then providing their testimony about doing business or attempting to do business with the town of Carrboro.
All right, I can start us off and hopefully you can hear me. There's someone cutting the grass outside the window. So
Yes,
my
ma'am, I
name,
can hear you.
okay. So my name is Latasha Best Gaddy. I am the owner of Infinity Bridges Incorporated. And let's see. Okay. And so I have a current contract opportunity with the town of Carrboro. And so the process has been really good in terms of the level of communication, the level of responsiveness, also knowing at what stage or step things are in the process. I think that has been something that's been really key and essential, as well as discussing what the scope of services are. And as a small business owner like myself, also talking in terms of the payment, making sure there's a bit availability to either be able to do smaller or payments in more increments versus waiting to the end of a particular contract or at the end of a quarter or things of that nature. So that has been a really good process, and being able to also communicate with other key areas of within the town that need it to be. So for example, with the communications team and being able to make sure that things are still within alignment or following the criteria that the town has for its communication process. So I think that has been really key. The other thing that I will just say is it's been so I do a couple of other things with other municipalities and in addition to or local government. And so being able to share some of those best practices and with the projects that I work on has also been really good, and they've been receptive to that as well. So I think that I think that answered or kind of covered what I would share in reference to my input and experience in working with them. And I would just say communication, follow-up, has been really just essential, just to let kind of know time frame, just because it may take a while for things to get approved or go through the cycle. So being able to do that and know where things are in the process has been good. All right, so I will stop there.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Latasha, for sharing that. Do we have anyone else that would like to share their testimony about their experiences, whether they be positive or areas of concern that they have doing business or attempting to do business with the town of Carrboro? Or if anyone would like to kind of piggyback off of the things that Latasha mentioned, whether you be in agreement with her or you've had a different experience.
I'm Mauricio Solano from the Economic Development Department Manager of El Centro Hispano. We have some funding grant with the Carrboro, with the town of Carrboro, and we work with the town in an excellent way. We don't have problem, and our work with the town is to connect workers with employers and to promote the small business owned in the Hispanic Latino community. And the town provides, it's so helpful to give us some tools. Always we feel that the town, the staff of the staff of the town is available or are available for us, and is available for some people that we connect. And I don't feel I only feel a good vibe with the town of Carrboro, but I have to say we have a grant with this town, so it's part of the work. And we are located in Carrboro. We have a one office here in Carrboro, and so yeah, that is my first thought about our relationship with the town of Carrboro.
Okay, thank you so much for providing that, Mauricio. Anyone else who would like to provide some insight into their experiences as well? I know this session is really useful for us to provide feedback to the town. You know, it's the best way for us to let the town know what people are experiencing that are trying to do business with them or have done business with them. And that's how we can, you know, build these findings and recommendations for them as well. So any input you have is great, whether it be positive or something you think the town can do better for you. Did anyone have any piggybacking comments off of the comments Latasha had about having good communication with the town or appreciating the responsiveness of the town, the communication, the follow-up processes and things like that, as well as payment. I know that's usually a popular discussion topic about positive or areas of concern with payments. Does anyone have any comments related to those topics? I wonder if there's anything in the chat. Let's see if I can find. Okay.
Hi, this is Barbara Fouché. I'm actually the mayor for the town of Carrboro. And I have, I think, a few questions about just clarifying about the process in general and how broad the reach is. I just signed up for it because I wanted to just come in to listen, and I hope my presence here is not making anyone want to share completely or truthfully. But I do have a vested interest in seeing the town do more work with minority businesses and women-owned businesses. And so that's kind of why I'm here. I'm just trying to, my concern, I guess, and what I think about all the time is like, do we have the voices, all the voices that we need to hear from? And so that's where my question is about the process, how broad the reach is, how long the outreach is going on. Mine is about process, more so than anything. But I appreciate that we're, engaged in doing the disparity study, but I just want to make sure that we are getting out of this what we need to get in order, to get hopefully the desired outcome.
Right. Okay. Thank you for your question. I will go ahead and answer that just to provide clarity for anyone else on the call. So the scope, of course, we're doing the disparity study for the town of Carrboro, but as I mentioned, we kind of create this relevant market and we have discussions with the town and our client about what other counties, cities, things like that we should have included. And of course, once we get the quantitative data back from the town, we are able to determine a relevant market area where the town is spending their money. So the firms and the businesses that they're using that might be outside of the town of Carrboro. So that's kind of the broad scope of it, I would say. And then your other question was how long outreach is happening. So we kind of started the outreach process, I guess, with the informational session, which was last year. It would have been with a different project manager who held that at the end of last year. So that was kind of when outreach started. I've been outreaching to organizations because I would really love to speak to different organizations and have them reach out to their membership, let their membership know what events we have coming up for the disparity study. And then, as I mentioned, we have these public input sessions. We will be having another one. And then we have the focus groups, which are, so public input sessions are open to the public, of course, focus groups and anecdotal interviews. Anecdotal interviews are happening now, and that's a random sample list that's being contacted. There's a random sample list for focus groups, which will be held later on.
Okay. And I guess my last question is how, but we can do the best job, right, and still miss people. And is there anything in particular that is being done to reach those that are historically underserved or marginalized, or any extra efforts to really, reach? Because this study is very important. And so for me, it's always about ensuring that as many voices as possible are heard from. And I guess that would be my last comment. I probably even said this when the disparity study first started being discussed. But just that's always a concern of mine, is just making sure that we're getting in every corner and that we're using every avenue possible to reach folks for input, because I don't want a decision to be made on a small sampling of, of folk. I mean, I would think that we would want a very broad input. And so I didn't know, how I hear what you're saying is being done. Is there an extra layer that's being done, to really make sure that we're hearing from folks that otherwise we may not hear from? And thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that comment. Yes, I think that with the disparity study, of course, we are doing as much as possible with that. That's kind of whatever you are looking to get out of the study is what we're trying to provide always. So I think the fact that we do make such a large part of the study the anecdotal evidence collection process, and we have all the different elements and layers of opportunities for people to participate, that's what we're trying to do. And the quantitative aspect as well, it speaks to that as well. And then we obviously have our lists that are created from certified lists and things like that. So we're definitely putting together the largest amount of people that we can, and we're trying to outreach to people. We just, like I mentioned with this session, we just want people to feel free to share their testimonies.
Thank
Latasha,
you for that.
Yes,
I
yes,
appreciate
ma'am.
it. Thank you.
Of course. Latasha, I just saw your comment in the chat. I actually took a note today to contact the Black Business Alliance for Chapel Hill Carrboro. So that's incredible. I would definitely love to follow up with you via email and get an org interview set up if you would love to do that. Thank you for that email address. We can also meet with your membership as well. I should have mentioned that. Alrighty. Is there anyone else who would like to share their testimonies, whether positive or areas of concern that they've had doing business or attempting to do business with the town of Carrboro? Alrighty. Well, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for the moment so I can access the materials that I want to provide to y'all in the chat. Give me 1 second. So what I'm putting in right now is the study website, the study email, and the survey link. The study website, as I mentioned, is where you can go to see any past recordings of meetings. Importantly, the informational meeting, in case you want a little bit more information than I provided today about what the disparity study is and what processes go into the disparity study. The survey link, as I mentioned, if you haven't already completed that, that's really important for the study. It's the way that we can kind of quantify your testimonies and your experiences with the town. So if you have completed that, thank you so much. If you would also like to share it with other business owners or those that you think may not have participated yet, please feel free to share that link with them. It will be up until the end of March. And then the thing I really want to highlight again with this group is the designated study email, carrboro@gspclaw.com. The reason I want to highlight that again today is because I'm really thankful that a lot of y'all showed interest in this meeting and wanted to attend and are obviously interested in the disparity study, but may not be comfortable publicly providing your testimony or information on your experiences. So, like I mentioned, we take testimony from email comments just as we would if you spoke today. So, if you would please send a letter or just an email with your experiences or any testimonies that you would like to share, we will of course take that into account for the disparity study anecdotal evidence.
Hannah, just real quickly, if there's anyone that may not be as computer savvy, any like business owners that may not be as computer savvy to be able to do this, is there another way or do they just kind of call or something so that they can share their experience just in case?
Yeah, I can always put my number in the chat as well if anyone needs to share that. Um, one moment, and then I will, let's see. I should know it off the top of my head, but I don't. But yes, if that's my office number there. If of course they would prefer to not be on a Zoom meeting like you said, or if it's just they're not as computer savvy, of course they can give me a call and I can kind of do a discussion with them or take their testimony or comments that way, if they want to communicate it verbally rather than through email comments.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your question. Yeah. Alrighty. If no one else has anything else they would like to share or any questions that they might have of information or materials that I can provide them before we leave this meeting, then thank you so much for attending today. It was so nice to hear from some of you. I hope that everyone else who registered and has showed interest will decide to follow up with me afterwards. I would love to hear about your experiences and your testimony and make sure that your voice is heard and used within the study as well. But thanks again, everyone. And I'm going to hang back if anyone wants to stay back and speak as well. But other than that, thank you so much and have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Teresa, did you have any comments you would like to add?